Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the weekend's action. Obviously that's happened a few days ago now. Like I say, I don't do this full time, so sometimes I'm unable to get the content straight out to you guys. Obviously, as we keep building this community, I'll be able to spend more and more time doing this, but we're going to talk a little bit about the weekend's action and more about some of the news that's come out over the past few days and maybe have a little bit of look ahead to this weekend. So let's start with Harlem Eubank versus Jack Catterall. Look, to be honest, the fight wasn't even worth talking about. Let's be honest. It was a bit of a nothing fight. 6 rounds. The styles did not gel at all. Bit of an awful fight. Um, Obviously, Jack Catterall wins that by quite a comfortable unanimous decision. Look, they fought 6 rounds. Jack Catterall probably won all of them, if not most of them. Gets the unanimous, well, technical decision after the 6 rounds. They actually collide and they both suffer big cuts to their eyebrows basically. And the doctor goes and looks at Jack Catterall's, who I think was worse. Goes and looks at Harlem's, decides they're both cut. Let's just stop this fight. There was a bit of yes and no and guessing and let's talk to the doctor and all sorts going on trying to make that decision, but they end up coming to the decision that they'll stop the fight. I guess the main thing is, what do we do with the fighters now? Some people talking about running it back. Let's move on. Does Jack Catterall deserve a title shot? All sorts. Look, I don't want to see this fight again. I think there's no point. Harlem Eubank, he'll go and fight another person probably at British level. Jack Catterall, I think he still needs a good performance. One good win, and I would put him in a title fight definitely. I really don't know how to set Jack Catterall up. I don't know who you'd give him next. But I do think that fight doesn't warrant a title fight. And this is his first fight at the new weight. Let him have another fight. Let's see him prove that at this new weight he deserves a title shot. Jarrett Gonzalez, he lost to Joe Cordina. Joe Cordina now becoming the WBO lightweight global champion. Unanimous decision victory, quite comfortably for Joe Cordina. But I would say it was a tough fight. Jarrett Gonzalez definitely gave a good showing, definitely early. But Joe Cordina, he showed his class. He showed how good he is. I said before in the preview how good I think Joe Cordina is, and he proved that. After a lengthy layoff, I was very impressed with his performance. And yeah, title shot probably next for Joe Cordina, hopefully. Sky Nicholson, she showed just how good she is. Look, I said in the preview that her opponent was a nothing. This was just a fight to get her in the new weight. Obviously, they actually ended up fighting, I think, 2 pounds over that 122-pound limit. But it still goes down as a super bantamweight fight. This was a stepping stone. Sky Nicholson destroyed her. Honestly, she's just too good. Sky Nicholson. That is not her level. Her level is challenging for world titles, no doubt about that. And she looks big. She looks big at this new weight. Obviously, her opponent Carla Gonzalez, she had an awful record coming into it, and the referee. I mean, I don't think the referee had any much choice. That fight's going one way and one way only. Sky Nicholson just running through her, picking her off at will. I didn't look at the CompuBox stats, but I couldn't imagine Sky Nicholson really got hit at all in that fight. To be honest, I can't honestly remember her actually getting hit in that fight. Over 2 rounds, it was just pure dominance. And look, she'll have all eyes on this weekend for the Ellie Scottney fight, which we might as well talk about a little bit. We've got probably the greatest women's boxing card this weekend, as well as Ring 3 in New York. I want to release it probably Friday or Saturday, so definitely put notifications on, watch that video. I want to do a pretty in-depth, big talk about that Ring 3 card. Look, I'll probably make a video talking about the Netflix girls card, but I don't claim to be an expert in the women's boxing, and I want to be an advocate of it. I definitely would promote and tell everybody to go on Netflix. Most of you would have it and watch it, but to be honest, lots of those women on that card this will be the first time I'll watch them. And look, they're going to be showcased on Netflix, which I think is absolutely great. So definitely watch that. But no, the Williams Zepeda card, that Ring 3 at New York, I'll be putting out some very good content for that, so stick with it. Let's talk about some of the breaking news now, though. Ricky Hatton is coming out of retirement after 13 years to fight Isa Alday on December 2nd in Dubai. Hatton will be 47 at the time. Alday will be 46. Do we want to see Ricky Hatton fight? Like, this will be his first professional fight. I believe he had a exhibition fight in 2022, but his last professional fight I think was 2011, and I think his last professional victory might have been 2008 or 2009. Look, I'm not even old enough to have watched those fights when they were happening. Do I want to see Ricky Hatton fight at 47? No, I don't really want to see Manny Pacquiao fighting at fucking 46. I don't want to see Mike Tyson fighting at 60. Like, I think it's watering down the sport, and it's becoming now these big events less of a sport and more of a way for people to make money. And the problem I have with that is events like this and like the Jake Paul fight, the main event is being taken away from big names that have worked their whole life and are in their prime from getting big paydays and big events. And they're being pushed away from these big title fights because of money. Like if we take that Jake Paul fight, let's be honest, Zerto Ramirez took that fight against Unil Dodicus because of the money and because it was on a Jake Paul card rather than fighting Jai Opetaia or Badu Jack, to elevate the division. You know what I mean? So that's sort of where I stand on that. What other news we got going? Beterbiev, he came out and said, how old do I have to be before we have the third fight? I mean, I spoke about this before, that there's talk about it now being in Russia, but there's no date. Obviously, they were supposed to fight November or December this year in Riyadh. That's now apparently changed to Russia. They just need to sort it out, because I do understand what Beterbiev's saying. Who knows what sort of pay he's going to get if they're not fighting under Riyadh and under Turkey. And he was already really old in the first Bill fight, and he's just getting older and older and older. And I think it's going to affect Beterbiev. To be honest, I think we saw it sort of affect him in the second one. He looked like he could not keep up with the pace. That was the talk in the first one. How would he keep up with the pace with that bad knee? Maybe it was just the hunger and desire of Bivol because he lost the first one, and Beterbiev maybe didn't have that because he won the first one. But we'll see in number 3. That Ring 4 card has been sort of announced officially by Turki Al Sheikh. Ring 4 will take place November 22nd in Riyadh, exclusively on DAZN, with a card of David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde to be top of the bill, followed by Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr., Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes, Jesse Bam Rodriguez versus Fernando Martinez. Now, I couldn't imagine that's the order that they're going to fight in, because which order would you fight that? You'd probably have Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes last. Unfortunately, it's a great fight, but I think they've got to be last. Jesse Bam Rodriguez, it's probably third, not because of ability, but because of following. Unfortunately for Jesse Bam Rodriguez, he's not as big as Devin Haney is. I think he's a better fighter than Devin Haney, but he's not as big in the media and such. David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde to be top of the bill. I'm not sure. To be honest, I find it weird sometimes the way they're doing it. Like, we talk about this Ring 3 card this weekend, and Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda. Now, that's the title fight. Yet, they're going to put Hamza Shiraz versus Edgar Berlanga, which isn't a title fight. The first fight at super middleweight for Hamza Shiraz in general first. I find that weird. I always think that the title fight should be the last fight of the night. So yeah, I don't know the reasons or why they do it like this. Like, is Shakur Stevenson less popular than Hamza Shiraz? I find it odd. Anyway, is that all the news that we're looking at? I think just about for today. Yeah, alright, that is all for today. Remember, I'm going to be dropping those previews, analysis of the fights this weekend. You'll get my predictions for who I think is going to win, how they're going to go down for the full Ring 3 card. That includes David Morrell. That includes Alberto Puello. Everybody on that card I'll be talking about. Long video. Tune in for that. Put the notifications on. It's going to come out Friday or Saturday, depending on when I get it made. I'll try and make another video during the week talking about the women's card this weekend, which I believe is on Saturday. And yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you are new. If you've been here a while and you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. And I'm out of here. See you.